O-2 to the hopper.
Second.
A motion and a second. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. I believe I already spoke to this when I offered the amendment, which is the current version before us on page 69 now. But I know that I really appreciated being able to review proposals in writing, and through looking into this more, I found that typically if it's not an emergency ordinance and you do learn new information during the time of a meeting that may make you want to substantially change it, that can typically be delayed. The council meets often enough to get things done. We want to make sure they're done right with transparency for the public as well, to be able to review what is actually being moved. So I urge you to support this.
All right, discussion. Commissioner Rohr.
Commissioner Rohr, District 6. I just want to speak to Julie Murray spoke on this on April 6th, and we asked whether this is something that happens very often, whether there's amendments that there are major issues with that they have had to deal with, and the answer was no. It does not happen that often, and it can go, it can be corrected if there are a significant issue in the ordinance that they need to correct by going through the legislative process. So based on the fact that it's not a major issue, it happens seldomly. I don't know why we need to put this into the charter to make that correction. So I am opposed to O2. The issue is not whether written notice is a good practice. The issue is whether the executive branch should use the charter to direct the internal procedures of the legislative branch. I understand the value of a no surprise practice. School boards often adopt similar expectations to improve communication and allow members to prepare for decisions, but those expectations are adopted by the governing body itself. They are not imposed by a higher level governing document, like the Constitution or the Charter for the Pierce County. The same principle applies here. The county council is the legislative branch. And I know we have, I don't know if it's relevant or not, I know we have people running for county council on this commission. Like, that authority belongs to you potentially one day. The county council is a legislative branch. It also has the authority to revise its own rules of procedures. If council members believe a written amendment requirement or a no surprise rule would improve their process, they can easily consider the issue directly. The council can evaluate how the rule would affect its meetings and operations, adopt it through its ordinary process if a majority supports it. It's a simple majority. And adjust it later if experience shows that changes are needed. That is the appropriate level for this decision. Placing the rule in a charter would make an internal council procedure more difficult to change and reduce the council's ability to respond to its own operational needs. It also raises separation of power concerns because the proposal originated in the executive branch. And I know I spoke a question, I think this was to Julie Murray as well. Has this even been brought to the county council? Have you gotten broad consensus from the county council? And there has been no conversation with the county council. That, to me, is a little alarming. The charter should establish the structure, powers, accountability of county government. It should not be used to manage the day-to-day procedures of the council. A written rule may be worthy. A written notice rule may be worth considering, It would be a good idea, but it does not belong in a charter. It belongs in the rules of procedures. And for those reasons, I oppose O2.
Commissioner Layton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to point out that, sure, Julie Murray currently works for the executive branch, but she was the chief of staff to the council before, so she's not unaware of council proceedings. But I do also want to point out that our own charter, many different sections in here outline rules of procedures, how to do ordinances, resolutions, emergency ordinances. It literally directs the legislative branch how they do their business. So it isn't inappropriate to have additional things in our charter that oversight in it. It literally provides in the Article 2 of the legislative branch these powers and how they are organized and rules of procedures. I don't think that 4 hours is tough. Having something, an amendment, 4 hours before a vote or consideration, I think is a very limited, very short amount of time. The legislature has that on themselves, actually, and through committees and whatnot. And they put it on themselves, and that's good on them. Good job. I don't think that our council would do this to themselves, and therefore I do think that it should be added to our section of Article 2 of how they do their procedures. I have followed county government for many, many years, and in a process many years ago, there was a lot of walk-on amendments that were significant and had significant influence and power over ordinances and resolutions, and the people didn't have a chance to review those and be ready. And I think that if there's an idea, then 4 hours seems to be an appropriate amount. We also heard that most of the things that the council is considering, if it is so significant that somebody's debate changed their mind and wanted to do amendment, that most of those things could go to the next week after that. They meet weekly. So I actually respectfully disagree about a 4 hour kind of timeline on here is inappropriate for the charter when we have large sections of our charter that already mandate the organization and rules and procedures of how the council should be conducting their business. Thank you.
Commissioner Roby.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Rogi, District 3. As I stated at the first reading, I do not support this amendment. It does not provide flexibility for the council to amend following public comment or new information during the meeting. The amendment would literally be read as part, so it meets the Open Meetings Act requirements, because it literally happens in front of the public. So verbal amendments align with openness and transparency, and I shared the same concerns that Commissioner Rohr shared, so I'm not going to repeat everything, except that once again the executive is trying to, it seems that the executive's office is trying to exert authority over the daily operations of the council with this recommendation. Thank you.
Commissioner Lentz?
So I'm going to support moving this forward for two reasons. One, C13 that we've already moved forward and is in the hopper addresses the subsection above this, subsection 1, with regard to the number of council meetings per calendar year. So I would support moving this forward to stick with that, and we can look at the entirety of section 235 council rules of procedure at one time and make our decisions as to what, if any of it, we wish to advance. And secondly, it certainly does not escape my notice that we as a body have been given undue, and I don't mean undue like it's not appropriate or that there's not the right to say it, but we have been given an extraordinary amount of feedback regarding the things that we're trying to do. Why aren't they in writing? Where are they? I want to see them. These are all very understandable concerns of the public, and we are trying to meet as a volunteer body with 21 people operating on the fly, with 41 legislative proposals in front of us, and we can't do it to the satisfaction of the public. And I think that the council would council, fully staffed, not juggling 40 legislative proposals on any given time, I don't think it's asking too much that they be held to that. And yes, they could absolutely bind themselves, but it doesn't seem to have happened yet. So I support moving this forward.
Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Leary, District 1. I'm going to be a no vote on this. I think it just adds rigidity to the process of the council. I don't see where 4 hours helps the public. Their meetings are in the afternoon. 4 hours prior to that, many people aren't going to see the amendment. So I don't see where that helps. I think that it lessens the ability of the council to respond to debate or information that's brought forth by the public. And I think it ultimately will focus the shift from the merits of given policy to arguments or issues over posting disputes and timing. And I just don't see where it's necessary. It's worked quite well for a long time. Thank you.
Commissioner Willis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Willis, District 3. I think that this is actually solvable, maybe with or without a charter amendment. I don't know. I'm reading here on the Pierce County Council page, and it already emphasizes meeting minutes, agendas, information. We do have a section for rules of procedure, but I think the principle belongs near the charter, but the exact mechanics do not. Maybe if there was an amendment in the future to take out a lot of the details and the finite granular information, maybe phrase it such as legislation should be amended in a transparent manner, substantiate. The amendments should be in writing except in emergencies, or maybe the public should have a reasonable opportunity to inspect them. I think that fits really well in the chart. I'll stick to my original comments when I said that this kind of starts talking to policy creep and we start getting into the details of it rather than the structural foundation.
Any additional first comments? Seeing none. Commissioner Rohr.
Commissioner Rohr, District 6. I would just speak to the legislative process at the state. The legislative set their own role to require written amendments. It is my understanding as well that at county council level, that amendments that are proposed, those all go, those all get sent and your councils are supported by staff, and those amendments are written up and they are put in front of the body and for the public if they would like to grab an amendment. I think there's a much more orderly process than what we've kind of experienced. Our staff is amazing, but we are a body of 21, and we just aren't set up to handle it in the same way. This does not belong in the charter. This is a county council process. And that can be advocated at the county council level, that's an important thing, whether it's from the public, whether it's from the executive's office, like Julie Murray shared, who's the executive's council, just that our county council is a working council. I don't think they would be, I actually don't believe at all that they would be opposed to putting something like this in their own rules of procedures. So just to say that they haven't done it doesn't mean that they won't. It's not been brought to them as a formal proposal, and it should belong to the council.
Commissioner Layton.
Thank you. Commissioner Layton, District 7. I'll just point out a couple of nuances. While we're arguing council members might not have the ability to have flexibility to listen to the public and make an amendment, I argue the public might not have the ability to make public comment on an amendment brought forward on the fly. It's like if public comment is going to be a a use of debate here. It's not one or the other, it's both, right? And so that is really kind of a nuance here that I'm seeing here. If we're going to say, well, we've got to be flexible to the public. But what about the public having the ability to look at an amendment? And that does happen. Many, many years ago, when we were working as a community organizing folks, there were amendments brought on the fly, and we had to be at every council member to be ready because we didn't know what was coming. It does happen. It does happen. And we're talking about 4 hours here, and I'll just make one more comment. Yes, this came from Julie Murray, but we were all happy, other people, to take other proposals from other folks in the executive branch or comments or advice from them. I think it's just a kind of an interesting argument that we're having here, that we're picking and choosing of who we want advice from and what ideas we want from, and it's just kind of an odd argument for me. Thank you.
Seeing no additional discussion, that will take us on to a vote on the motion to move O2 amendments to council legislation must be in writing on page 69 of your packet onto final consideration. So, clerk, if you can have a roll call vote, please.
Kate Ginn,
Aye.
Sharon Hannick. Oh, you're muted?
Aye for now.
Caleb Heimlich,
Aye.
Elizabeth Herrera. Nay. Billy Joe Heatherington,
Yes.
Jake Hunter,
Aye.
Martha Lance. Yes. Justin Layton,
Yes.
Brenda Likens,
Abstain.
Brenda Molesky,
Aye for now.
Jerome O'Leary,
No.
Holly Rogie,
No.
Rujana Rourke,
No.
Devin Rydell Kelly,
Aye.
Troy Surratt,
Yes.
Jen Marie Strictly,
No.
Judson Willis,
Nay.
Lisa Boyd,
Aye.
George Consuelo,
Aye.
Mason Fletcher,
No.
Abstain.
a little late on the counting. 12 in favor, 7 opposed, and 2 abstentions.
So that motion passes. So O2 will move on to final consideration. That brings us to C24, Veterans Affairs, on page 71 of your packet. Commissioner Molesky, do you have a motion for us?
Yes, I make a motion to move this forward.
So your motion is to move C24 on to final consideration? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Surratt. All right, would you like to speak to your motion, Commissioner Molesky?
Yes. And I want to say first thank you to Commissioner Surratt for helping me with this proposal. He helped me to be able to narrow this down to meet the charter's requirement. But most importantly, he was the one that was able to help me while I was struggling with this so that clarity was made so people could better understand what we were trying to accomplish. What I was trying to accomplish was to identify what the Veteran Affairs Office role was doing and who it serves, so that way those who are serving that position will realize within the charter that this is what the department is all about. In regards to that, the previous statement in the charter was kind of vague for me, and I just wanted to create a little bit more clarity of understanding in regards to that role. And this is the reason why I wanted to work on this proposal. Regretfully, there were many that looked at this and took it in the wrong direction, but I'm hoping that what Commissioner Surratt has helped me with, and clarity has been known, and especially the verbal support from the Veteran Affairs Office at Pierce County, who saw that with the correction that was made, it meant the RCW. I didn't take away from the definition and role of what the department was going to do, that I appeal to the commissioners at hand to see this going toward the hopper. Thank you. I need your advice, Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Lasky?
I want to make an amendment. I feel that a couple of lines should be added on there to keep it in its strength. I wanted to add on in accordance with Washington state law.
All right, so I have a motion to add in accordance with Washington state law onto the end of C-24. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Fletcher second. So now on to discussion of that amendment solely to add that sentence. Commissioner Henry. I saw your face. Didn't see the card.
I would just say I don't think that sentence is necessary, so I'm going to vote no on the amendment.
Any additional discussion on the amendment? Commissioner Roki?
I don't think it's necessary because it does say that they'll coordinate with federal, state, tribal, nonprofit, and community partners.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, we'll take just a hard vote on the motion to add the language Commissioner Malowski shared to the end of C-24. All in favor, please raise your cards. Count 8. All opposed? I count 11. Any abstentions? Because I'm not doing that. And 2 abstentions? Alright, so that motion fails. We'll go back to discussing C-24 as originally written in your packet on page 71. Commissioner Stroud.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Surratt, District 5. I'm very grateful for the amendment that was adopted by this body that clarified that Pierce County already has a veterans policy that's doing really wonderful things in connecting our veterans, as I mentioned, to the vast resources of the federal government. There is a gap here that Commissioner Malowski identified, which is that there is a lack of clarity about what this veteran policy can do, is doing, why it's necessary, and this proposal effectively resolves that. However, I'm going to be consistent with my votes here. It has become a preamble-esque edit to the charter, and I do not support any edits to our preamble or creating new preambles or any statements of purpose if we do not change the relationship between government and the people it serves. What this amendment has so far accomplished is just detail what the county is already doing in a more enriched, fulfilling way. And for that reason, I'm going to be a no vote. It should be noted that the veterans policy of Pierce County is a requirement of statute, and the charter was responding to new statute that created a veterans policy and funding. And so I think it's already accomplished through the charter and through statute, and we don't need to have it be on the ballot or make any recommendations to council because I think it's already fulfilling the purpose as intended. Thank you.
Commissioner Rourke.
Commissioner Moore, District 6. I want to begin by sharing that this issue is personal to me. I am the daughter of Ammon Williams, who served in the Army for 26 years and retired here at Fort Lewis in the 1980s. I grew up a military brat, and I have deep respect for our veterans, our military families, our military youth, and the sacrifices they make. I support efforts to ensure veterans receive appropriate services and support. However, I do not support placing C-24 in the county charter. The charter should establish the structure, powers, and accountability of county government. It should not be used to prioritize individual policy areas or direct specific service programs. County Council already has full authority to adopt, improve veteran policies, establish an advisory body, coordinate services, provide funding through ordinance, and the budget process. That is the appropriate place for the work because programs can be evaluated, funded, updated, and adjusted as needs change. If we place one important policy area in the charter, we should consider the precedent that creates for other issues and groups. Many causes are worthy of support. The charter should remain focused on the structure of county government. A policy can be important and still not belong in the charter. For those reasons, I will not be supporting C-24.
Commissioner Hannick?
I will, kind of along those lanes with Commissioner Rohr, being a military brat and actually spending most of my life not in America, my